What is up, my friends? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today's video is all about another music theory technique, specifically modulation. And I've gotten a lot of questions about modulation over the years, like how do you specifically modulate? What are the different chord types you need to know about to modulate? And while the simple answers are really like pivot chords, so trying to find chords that are common between both keys, like in C major and G major, you have a chord like uh, let's see, C major, right? C major is the one chord in C and the four chord in G major. So you can use that C chord to pivot into the other key, like G major, for example. But what if two keys are more far apart? What if they're more far apart on the circle of fifths, right? And knowing the circle of fifths, basically you have, C at the top and you have all your sharp keys on one side, all your flat keys on the other side. So what if you want to modulate from one key to another key that's not necessarily next to each other? Because two keys that are next to each other on the circle of fifths, we consider closely related keys because they have very similar key signatures, right? So today I want to show you really quickly one of my favorite modulation techniques, and that is specifically modulating a minor third. So we call this, a chromatic medians when you're going up or down, a major or a minor third, either through modulation or just in a chord progression, you're moving to another chord. But in actual modulation, there are very, very many ways you can actually do that. And so one of my favorites is to modulate a third, and specifically a minor third. And I'll tell you why. So first of all, let's quickly define what a minor third is. A minor third is an interval of 3 half steps. So for example, the note C to E flat, that's a minor third because from C you can go C sharp, D, E flat, and that's considered a minor third, right? Then there are many, many different intervals, but the one in question today is the minor third. So one example is, like we said, C to E flat. So why does this work? Well, if we have a listen to what the actual scales sound like, so I'll play C major and then E flat major. So distinctly different sounds and distinctly different keys, but why do they not sound completely different? Like, why do they not sound completely out of place when I play C major and then E flat major? Well, the reason is because C major has all white notes, right? And E flat major has all white notes as well, with the exception of 3 flats, namely B flat, E flat, and A flat. So you're only changing 3 of the 7 notes. You're not changing all 7 notes. So that's why, like, for example, if you go from C major to F sharp major, those two scales are going to sound wildly different when you play them on the piano, one after the other, because C major is all white notes and F sharp major is basically almost all black notes, right? And so the less you move to a different key, the easier it is on the ear, right? But if you're moving a little farther, then the ear's going to notice it a little bit more. So let me show you a quick example of this modulation from C major to E flat major. I actually use this modulation in my song Empty Holes here, and specifically in the chorus. So let's have a quick listen to what this sounds like. So I'm going to start in C major, and then you'll hear the transition to E flat major.
I hope the empty holes within your heart are filled with the light of 100 smiles. It won't be long until we're not apart, even if we've got to wait a while.
And then it modulates back to C major there. But specifically, what kind of chord progression is going on? So let me play that for you one time here. I'll play the progression and then watch the chord symbols, watch the chords that I'm playing, and then see if you can kind of figure out theoretically what's going on. Here we go. All right, so what were the main devices being used there? The first half of the chorus, I was in the key of C, right? I started on the 4 chord, went to the 1 chord, then the 2 chord, back to the 1, same idea, 4, 1, 5, 7, a 5, going to 5, okay? Then I knew I wanted a change in color. I knew I wanted something to move the listener to a different place mentally, because from the beginning of the song up until this point, it's all been in one key, the key of C major. So I knew that the listener is already accustomed to this. And in order to make them feel something different, in order for them to experience something a little bit new, I knew I wanted to modulate. But I didn't want just a really simple modulation to G major or F major because those are too closely related. It wouldn't really make too much of a difference. So I decided to go even farther and I went, excuse me, to the key of E flat major. So that's going up a minor third. If I went down a minor third, that would be going to A minor. That's the relative minor. But if you go up a minor third, then you're actually going to, a completely different key. So in this case, we're introducing those three flats and going from the 5 chord in G, like G major, right? Going up a semitone to A flat major. That introduces that new sound immediately because now I already have 2 flats in the chord. I have this A flat and E flat, right? So going from the 5 chord in C major, going to the 4 chord in E flat major, then I can do my 4, 1, 2, 5, 1. I'm essentially just repeating the exact same pattern, the same chord progression in the first half of the chorus in the second half. I'm literally just doing the same chord progression, but they're in different keys. So instead of just going from, 4, 1, 5, 7, a 5 to 5, back to 1, I decided to take that opportunity to go up a half step to the 4 chord in the new key or E flat major. Now it doesn't have to go to the 4 chord. It could absolutely go to something else. It could go to maybe the 6 chord. So that would be C minor, and you can really choose what you do there. And you basically want to plan out your chord structures, but the power of modulation and moving to a different key, that can really take your listener to a different spot. And this is especially prevalent in music like musical theater, Broadway, Disney, Pixar, whatever. Less so in like mainstream pop because it's very simple. It's very like one-sided in a way, and it keeps the listener's attention for those 2-3 minutes, and that's it. Whereas for musical theater, it's all about telling a story and really developing the plot forward. So musically, the music can respond by modulating, by changing keys, and using other devices like that. But this is just one example of how I like to modulate is by moving by minor third, moving up a minor third. And I hope it gave you a bit of an insight into why this works. And so just as a little bonus tip here, you'll notice when I went to this new key,
are filled with the light
so here the instrumentation and the orchestration is very sparse and very light, right?
of 100 smiles. It won't be long until we're not apart.
Suddenly when this new key comes in, I try to warm it up a little bit more because I think of the flat keys as warmer keys and a little bit darker. So I kind of beef that up with the French horn. I introduce some lower strings in there, some more woodwinds, and orchestrationally, I wanted to enhance the overall feeling of the modulation. I wanted to take that even further. So that's the thought decision behind that process. And I hope it makes sense, but just experiment with modulations. If you're, a songwriter and you're kind of looking to add some extra interest, some really good places to modulate are specifically like the bridge. So, verse 1, chorus 1, verse 2, chorus 2, and then the bridge and then the final chorus. Usually the bridge is a really cool place to introduce a modulation, and then you could even go back to the original key in the final chorus, or you can stay in that new key in the final chorus. But modulating will definitely give your listener a sense of like, oh, something has definitely changed. The flavors has changed a little bit, but the music sounds similar, but something has definitely changed. And that's what the kind of emotional response you want from your listeners, from your viewers. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and yeah, that's one of my favorite ways to modulate. And speaking of modulation and music theory, just to remind you, I have a brand new course coming out called Songwriting for Animation, and it talks about techniques just like this, among many, many others. I'll talk about keys to writing a memorable melody, how to write memorable chord progressions by using modulation and secondary dominance, like discussed in the last video, and more techniques like that. And we'll actually break down specific hits from animated film, which is really, really fun. Talk about what the composers there are doing, and then we'll actually write my own song, specifically this song, Empty Holes, and go into my thought process there when it comes to writing this type of music. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to tell you more about it, but that'll come out next week. So thank you again very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.